use your brain when you use your mouth, not just after, okay? Words to live by. You are strangers walking the same road. Traveling alongside strangers is common, though, because there is safety in numbers, and the people of this region are generally known to be honest enough. The road you travel cuts through a sprawling plain atop rolling hills, a grove of trees dotted here and there, and above is a blue sky populated with puffs of white, like dandelions in late spring. These are the opening lines that I read for the one-shot to cover for the regular DM who was busy with school. So I ran a one-shot for the peeps, for the people. And I have been watching quite a lot of Matt Colville lately, so I figured I would mimic his format a little bit and make a campaign diary sort of thing. Mostly just for my own benefit as a way of organizing my thoughts, because my thoughts are otherwise completely unorganized. As exemplified by this next point, this is my second attempt to record this. I tried yesterday without a script and managed to somehow record a hurricane that rambled on for 50 minutes. Anyway, 2 days ago I ran what was supposed to be a one-shot to cover for the usual DM. It was a lot of fun. Everybody seemed to have a good time. Everybody got into character, and there was a lot of fun there. It was a little rocky in the pacing and the delivery on my part, but I think that's just inexperience and a lack of confidence. This was technically my third time running D&D, but the first time was just running a session of Lost Mines of Phandelver for my family. That didn't really go anywhere. And then also I did some impromptu DMing for two friends who were having two of their characters duel each other, just for fun. And they were like, "Hey Sam, describe the environment basically. Come mediate this." So I was more of a referee than a DM, to be honest. For the sake of context, a PDF version of the notes that I used for the session and that I will be referencing throughout this video are available down in the doobly-doo. Please feel free to tell me just how garbage they are. So this video is going to be if I can figure it out and if I am successfully able to rein in the rambliness of my own train of thought, then this video will be organized in two sections. I believe the particular term for what it is on YouTube that I'm referencing is video chapters. We'll see if that comes to fruition at all. I had prepped and planned what I'd hoped would be a 3 to 4 hour one-shot, but there's a few reasons why that didn't really work out. Reason number one, the original starting time was supposed to be 6 p.m., but one player sort of the day of realized that he wouldn't be able to make it until 7:45 p.m. So that put us back an hour and 45 minutes already. Reason number two, I may have over-prepped a little bit. I mapped out 3 combat encounters, a small conspiracy for the players to figure out, 4 areas for them to adventure through, and several bits of scenic description throughout. Reason number 3, I underestimated the sheer amount of banter and role-playing that the group would have. I think the first 45 minutes was just me introducing the session with that intro that I just read before. And basically saying, introduce your characters. And then they just went off and started having fun interacting in character. And I mean, that's great, right? Like that's what the game is for. But maybe it's a problem when I'm planning a 3 to 4 hour session and 45 minutes in, I haven't even given the plot hook yet. Uh, so, that's reason number 3 there. I think if we hadn't had to delay the starting time by an hour and 45 minutes to begin with, I think we probably could have made it all the way through everything I planned, but we most definitely would have still gone to midnight, which we did. I mean, we went to 11:45. So many 45s, what the heck is going on? So, Scenic Descriptions. I mentioned Scenic Descriptions. What I mean by that is literally just describing the scene. I had quite a few of those written down in my notes, and I just want to mention that I'm not entirely sure how effective they were in application. I leaned a little poetic in writing them, and they certainly got the job done, right? Like, the players they didn't ever seem confused about, like, oh, well, I thought you said this about, like, the environment, oh, which way were we headed again? But it was difficult to get a read on the players' reactions to my descriptions, because they didn't really say anything about it ever, and that was really the only medium of communication we had, because we did this over a voice call in Discord, which is, playing D&D in a voice call is wonderful for the purposes of theater of the mind and invoking that kind of thing. But it's a little strange when you're trying to gauge people's reactions to something and you can't see their faces or their body language or anything like that. I mean, not that I'm particularly good at reading people anyway. As the sun falls to the horizon, and as you crest a hill, you are suddenly faced with a vast and dense forest flowing into a basin like a lake of deep green. Just as quickly, you see the largest bridge that any of you has ever seen. It rides above the canopy of the trees, stretching across the entire forest, at least 4 miles. It is made of countless slabs of bleached stone, an imposing streak of gray juxtaposed on an ocean of leaves. An inscription at the foot of the bridge reads, in Common, Dwarven, and Elvish, "Travelers, beware the road at night, for the sun is your shield from darkness." The middle section of the plot had the party faced with either crossing this bridge at night or camping out until morning, thus delaying their time-sensitive mission. I was prepared for either option, but the party decided to push on through the dark, not a small bit because I had the NPC they were accompanying say that if it were just him, he would push on. After the combat encounter in the middle of the bridge, I improved a bit of the daytime description that I had prepped into the last quarter of them crossing the bridge, the part about how mesmerizing and beautiful the forest was from where they were, and how when the wind rolls over the canopy, it's almost like ocean waves. And I'm pretty happy that I did this, because I think it fit pretty well with the sort of vibes I was feeling. It was after the adrenaline wears off, and after you get back into just the rhythm of walking and hearing the wind rustling the leaves, you allow yourself to calm down a little bit, and you realize how beautiful the situation is. And I thought that was a pretty nice moment. I thought it was a pretty nice moment. Again, no idea how the players felt about it, but I believe that it was effective. Speaking of the combat encounter on the bridge, it included a slightly homebrewed ettercap, this thing, and 3 quote-unquote giant spiders. My giant spiders had a leg span only 3 feet across, which, while much larger than IRL spiders, is nowhere near what you'll find in D&D, or even in, like, Harry Potter, or in Lord of the Rings, right? For me, I feel as though there's a threshold of gigantitude, which, once passed, giant spiders just sort of lose the uncanny creepiness that real spiders are so infamous for. For me, once a spider is the size of a horse, it ceases to be a spider. So, balancing enemies. The enemies that I posed against the players were without a doubt too weak. Looking back, I think my encounters would have been better suited to a second level or maybe even a first level party of adventurers, I'm not too upset about it, because I know that balancing encounters is a bit of an art form. I honestly didn't put that much effort into trying to make them balanced. Right, it's a skill that I have yet to develop, and this experience has put me one step closer, so, I'm not going to beat myself up over it. The party in their adventure was accompanying a courier tasked with delivering a package of medical supplies to a village. I didn't really give this courier any character traits or anything beforehand, so I had to improv a bit who he was and how he saw the world. In both combat encounters, I entirely forgot about him, didn't even put him in the initiative order, so I discovered that Altan is a bit of a coward. I also discovered that he is a naive young adult who wants to lead a simple life and is probably working as a courier as an excuse to get away from some aspect of his life. The players don't know that last part, but in acting as Altan, I felt that it made sense. Speaking of characters, one of the players made a dragonborn Oath of Devotion paladin with a bit of a comedically obnoxious personality. In this player's own words, he has a hero complex, meaning that part of this paladin's character was that he always wanted to be the one to save the day, right? So this character was inherently competitive and confrontational, but I don't think his player anticipated the extent to which the other players would roll with this. In a way, he kind of ended up being the punching bag of the group, right? Like, he was the butt of a lot of jokes. And before the session ended, he was certainly tired of it. He spoke up for himself, and the others agreed to tone it down going forward. They didn't mean any harm, they were just having fun. But I think I failed a little here as Dungeon Master. I am not a confrontational person. In fact, I prefer to be an observer most of the time. In the first chapter of The Anthropocene Reviewed, John Green tells us how his wife gave him the revelation that in the Anthropocene, there are no observers, only participants. I was not participating in the conflict that happened in the very game that I was running. Part of this I will attribute to my nature as a particularly socially oblivious human, but I also feel that part of it was me failing to fulfill the role of the authority figure in the situation. So that's most of my thoughts on what went down. I apologize for any remaining technical shortcomings after I edit this. There's like a hiss that happens with, something in my audio setup, like a connection's bad, or maybe I need a new XLR cable or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I will probably do another of these videos once the one-shot turned two-shot wraps up. I don't remember if everyone explicitly agreed to do another session of it, but everybody seemed to have fun, and everyone who did say anything said that they would like to do another session of it, so, that's promising. Expect another one of these at some point, I guess. Sometime in the foreseeable future, I will also upload a video about my thoughts and interpretations regarding force damage. And what's the deal with force damage? I'm saying this now so I have an excuse to hold myself accountable later when I am feeling too lazy to make it. Oh, you know what? Hey, I have an idea. I just got an idea for an outro for this channel, Forest Township. How about I say, see you on the town? Huh? Thoughts? I don't know. Anyway, that's the end of the video. See you on the town.